You're a terrorist, you're doing tax evasion, this is all illegal, you're a scammer, we will not give you a bank account. It's Gary Gensler, who is running the US Securities and Exchange Commission. He will fire him. To tell you, even though in the media you read that Dubai, UAE, Abu Dhabi are like paradise for crypto, I can just tell you first.
I mean, it's very unlikely that the Bitcoin will disappear.
It won't.
Like that.
Yeah. A lot of risk, taking a lot of risk, usually takes, there's a big reward attached. Easiest way for me to recognize between a completely unexperienced entrepreneur and founder and a very experienced one.
Like in a sense of that today you can have $10,000, but at the end of the year it can be worth. Hello and welcome back to our podcast and channel here. And today I'm here with Anton again. As always. And we are going to dive into something that is very popular at the moment and things that are happening. And I need Anton to enlighten me. And so we're going to dive into, and today's episode, what we're going to discover, because a lot is changing in the world, as we can see. And so I'm wondering where the money is going or what is going to happen with the money within elections, with all of the things and changing in our life. So I would just let's say that today we would think of it 3 possible outcomes that will come in 2025. What's going to happen to our dollar? Because it's not doing so well at the moment.
Yes. I think like dollar is not been doing well for many decades and centuries. So if you look at those, usually like people see these graphs or charts where you see kind of the value of the dollar. Wait, I need to now show it in the right direction. It's just going down, and now it's somewhere close to zero. And usually you hear these stories that the dollar or any other currency for that matter has lost more than 90+% of its value. So you need more money today to buy for everyday things that costed very little, kind of in currency terms, many decades or years or centuries ago. And I think like today, like the topic of dollar is very hot because the topic of crypto is very hot. The topic of Bitcoin is very hot because it seems like every politician in US is talking about crypto. How awesome it is. Isn't this a good change for a while?
Yeah, I think so. But it also makes me to question why they are talking about it. They has to have their own interest.
You know how politicians are. When they see an opportunity to get votes, to get popular approval, then they grab it. I think, just to provide the context, there was a crypto conference in Nashville in US, and they had spectacular speakers, and one of the secret unannounced speaker was actually Trump. So Trump came on stage after got shot, in his face or head or ear, however you want to say it. And there he was talking about how Bitcoin is the future. America is all for Bitcoin, paraphrasing, and that he sees Bitcoin as a big part of the American future. So now talking about like the question, like where is money in the future and where is Bitcoin in that story? And he openly said like that he thinks that US should take the dollars it has or the dollars it's printing all the time and buy Bitcoin with it to create reserves, the same way that countries used to buy gold to create reserves, that they buy Bitcoin now. So to go back to your question, I think there's a awareness in the public about crypto, about Bitcoin. It's becoming more important part of the everyday life and everyday thinking of the everyday person. And Trump sees an opportunity there, and he wants to capitalize it to get the public approval.
Okay.
I don't know. Does this make sense? I'm just a logical, simple guy. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But I'm also thinking that, because as we know, Bitcoin in a sense is the power is in our hands. We do what we do. And let's say if now Trump will win and say yes, because I mean, US has a lot of, they don't want to let the Bitcoin to get into the market as it is and finding all of the ways. But then then they lose the control. So in a sense of how beneficial it is for them, do you think that, let's say if Trump wins and he says, okay, now we're going to buy Bitcoin, now we're going to do this, that's how it's going to be. Like the system behind there, how beneficial it is for them.
Yeah, I mean, look, the owning a big chunk of Bitcoins, big percentage of the total supply. And we have to remember Bitcoin is limited. So there's not going to be more than 21 million Bitcoins. You can have small fractions, but that's, it's 21 million in the end, and a bunch of it got even lost. So it's less than 21 million. So I think whoever in the future ends up controlling 0.5%, 1%, 5%. I mean, imagine 5% of all Bitcoins. It's going to bring enormous power.
Oh, that's
So
true, yeah.
first of all, I think of it like that, actually. The secondly is like how Bitcoin is created, that you have these miners and they create blocks in the blockchain. And then when you create a block, you get the reward, which are Bitcoins actually for doing that. So you have another source of control is like, do you have the biggest mining on the planet, the biggest mining facilities on the planet? And to now think a step back is like, US definitely has one of the biggest mining facilities on the planet. China is there and a couple of other countries are there, but US has actually some of the biggest mining facilities. So it's huge. On the other side, indirectly, US owns a huge, US companies and US people own a huge chunk of Bitcoins because Coinbase, Kraken, now we have BlackRock with these ETFs, with these products. They own a big chunk of MicroStrategy. They own, as a US company, is a big part of the supply. So I think that indirectly US is already on the right track to be a significant player. I think they're already. Now the question is, does the political system understand that the next step, on our podcast, we always talk about what's the next step, where is the next thing, is that the first country ever who realizes that they can print worthless currency of their own and buy Bitcoin, which is very much worth, that's the country that wins in the end. Because imagine if you just wake up one day as a country and you say, let me start printing billions of my own currency and I'll buy Bitcoin with that. It's like you're exchanging garbage for something that's valuable. And the question, like the big point for our listeners is like, will US figure that out? That all this stuff that they're just printing the whole time, all these dollars, they should actually just, or use part of it to buy Bitcoin. And that's like the end game from a government perspective. I don't know what you think about it, but I'm always like thinking, what's the next step? Like, what's the next evolution? So you already have the miners, you already have the Bitcoins, but like, can you actually print your own currency, which is garbage either way? Because it's just, we talked about, it's declining in value, right?
Yeah.
And just buy Bitcoin with that, right?
Yeah, that can be totally, and that's actually, now it brings me to the next thing, because I read about it and I listened something as well, and it was saying that they're doing right now, so this just brings us to what's going to happen to the dollar in 2025, that they're on purpose trying to destroy the dollar in order to also bring their own, this CBD, whatever kind of a thing. Yeah. So what do you think of that?
I mean, I'm very against central bank digital currencies, because I think that there should be a level of privacy that all of us should have when we spend our money. I don't think people should know that we had a Freddo cappuccino before,
Yeah.
I think this is none of anyone's business, But with central bank digital currency, the government sees everything that happens. And not only do they see it, they can control it. They can literally block your account and say, no more Freddo cappuccino for you guys, So I think that CBDCs are a huge danger to the population, to everyone actually involved, because of the control that you have over it. And we have learned this in human history, control is always abused. So they will abuse it,
Yeah.
So I'm fully against it. This is not should be in the hands of the public. I think maybe that's most of the governments around the world don't see it that way. They want power and control through CBDCs. I'm fully against it. I don't know how you feel.
Because of course I'm against it. It just makes me to realize that so much is happening to the dollar right now.
Yes.
Like we are printing it like crazy.
Yes.
We don't know what is coming. The money is running out. Or not money is running out. We are just creating a lot of inflation and all of that. Is that also one of the reasons is, of course, they can buy the Bitcoins and hold the Bitcoins. But is there also a way that they might be doing this in order to, they see that the dollar doesn't work anymore. Like they obviously they have very smart people in a sense of understanding what is happening in the world. So my question for this would be, can be this also part of their strategy to kill the dollar?
To kill the dollar, yeah. I mean, look, I think to be provocative, I think part of the solution is actually to kill the dollar, because there's so much debt, that US as a country has.
Yeah, exactly.
And this will never be repaid. Let's just say it obviously to everyone who is listening. There's trillions of debt. This will never be repaid. The only way it can be repaid put now quotation marks underneath this, is that you inflate it so much that it becomes worthless and you destroy it, and then you destroy the debt as well, right?
Yeah.
But when you do that, you need to also have real assets of value, hard assets, right? That will not be destroyed as a part of this process, and then you can reboot the system, And this has happened so many times in other countries with other currencies. The dollar hasn't been the global reserve currency forever. Actually, before that it was the pound and so on. So I think like maybe part of the solution is actually to have a big problem. So repeat this. Part of the solution is to create a massive problem, and then the problem basically just implodes, and then you have a reboot. You need to start from scratch, and maybe then the CBD is a part of this new solution. But I think like even irrespective of that, I think CBDCs, even if everything becomes amazing with the dollar, I think CBDs are still huge danger.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think that this should be something we should accept, but obviously, I mean, we've seen in a history that they can come up with limitations. They can come up with everything that you, as a everyday person who needs to buy milk, who needs to go to shop, who needs to, pay for the things, you cannot anymore, because either your dollars disappear somewhere and they become a different currency, which is a CBDC, which I was wondering as well, that what people should do who are holding the dollars right now. What would you recommend for them?
So I think in general, if you're holding currency, that's like the worst thing you can do, actually, because currency, the value is all the time declining. So it's always about, can I put this currency, that money somewhere where I can get the value from it. So can I invest it in good companies? Can I lend it out and earn yield? Can I invest that money into myself? Can I invest it into my business? But just to say, is like, if you hold euros for the last couple of years, like the euro lost 25% in the last couple of years. So if you just held your euros, you're 25% poorer. This is insane, actually, right? So maybe you could have put it somewhere else to make it work, so to speak, such that you don't lose the value of that money. But you know how this goes, actually. Most of the people, how much free money do they have? Most people are not sitting on millions or hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
So the question is also, how can you then earn more? Because if you earned 1,000 euros before or $1,000, and now it's 25% less worth, you can buy 25% less with that. That means you need to have a higher income,
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? Actually, what they're making you do, right? Because you want stability.
Yeah, but to get there, I think it's at this moment, if you are not in Dubai or in other, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
I think it's impossible. The taxes will eat you.
Yes.
The inflation eats you. You can earn more, but you have less.
Yes. Yeah.
And to save from there and put it to grow. And but I hear from the, let's say, finance podcasts and everything, they say that, start very small. Let's say you have 100 left, put it somewhere. How would you see this for an everyday person who exactly has, let's say, 100 euros or 150 euros left over in the end of the month?
So I'll be here very provocative. You need to start earning more money. So if you are saving 100 euros every month, let me just tell you very clear, this is not enough. You need to start earning more money somehow. I don't know. You need to have a second job, something additional income. I don't know what it is, but you need to make more money. Why? Because for you to build significant wealth over a certain time period, 100 euros per month is not enough. You should be saving and investing 10,000 euros per month, actually. But tell me who has free money lying around like this, like through their normal income. My recommendation is, this is just my point of view, if you save 100 euros every month, take this 100 euros and figure out how you're going to invest into yourself to make more money.
I agree with you. And I wasn't sure if we're going to go towards this in here. But I had yesterday or 2 days ago a call with a client. And they were saying like she's in a higher paying job and she wants to start her own business. And we were discussing about it. He said, I'm so afraid of losing my house or my car or things because I'm having a very high salary. And if I go on my own, it's obviously going to be less. And I told her, like, it's impossible because you have already skills that no one can take from you. Yes. So if you have the skills and you're going to go out in a market, of course you have to do it. And this is another thing I always tell my clients. Never start your business when you're jobless.
Yeah.
Start your business when you have a job, that your bills are paid. Yeah. And when your bills are paid, you have a space to create something. As I'm going to be honest, you're not going to get clients like this overnight. It's not going to happen. And it's the same in a sense of, and so she was so worried, and we were going through what she knows and what she has done in her life. And she has an enormous skill set. And I said, do you understand it? You can lose today the house, you can lose your car, you can lose everything, but you can build it up very quickly because you have the skills. You are wanted in the market. But if you don't, and this is here is the thing why, which I don't often understand when people stop learning new things. Because for me, it's like, well, number one, the life is changing. Second of all, you will acquire a new skill, and no one can take your skills. Yes, I can take your, exactly, I can freeze your bank accounts, I can do the things what I want, but if I have the skills and the network, I'm back within a shorter time, because it's always the first one takes the longest time. But I keep on seeing how, and here I totally agree with you, invest in yourself. And if you have invested in yourself, you can do anything in this world. Doesn't matter how it is, but also start your business. Like you said, earn an extra income while you have your bills paid. Because it's worse when you are in debt, because you're thinking of the debt. You have a rent to pay. You're thinking of how to pay the rent. So you're not going to think of how to make more money during this time. And so start today, not in freaking when you lose a job. And this is very funny. Also, there's another thing that often people say that, being an entrepreneur or business owners is very risky. And for me, it's like, it's much riskier to work under somebody else, because they can walk up to you today and say, well, thank you for being here, but goodbye. And of course, some countries have a support system that can help you along the way. But if you have skills, and if you're needed in the sense of you have something, your skills are your assets that can multiply how much you're gonna earn. So I totally agree with you, and this is a good advice in that sense.
And I just want to say something, because you said something so important, that when you are jobless, as an example, or if you're under super strong financial pressure, the worst thing is then to start thinking, how do I make money? Because I can tell you, as a startup founder, as an entrepreneur, you make the worst decisions on the planet when you have your back against the wall, you have nowhere to do, and then you are just panicking, thinking, how do I survive? And the worst decisions are made there. And the best decisions are made when you have options. When you say, I have 3 incomes, how the fourth one will look like, let's think. So I 100% agree with you. Don't do this to yourself. Don't go into a situation where you are broke and then trying to figure out how to make money. This will ruin you mentally. Physically, nothing will happen. You live in, most likely, if you're watching this, you live in a developed country. Nothing bad will actually happen to you, but you will make wrong decisions on the way. And so really to say, I'm 100% agree with you. If you're earning $100 per month or saving it, $100 per month, this is not enough. You should be saving 10 grand per month. When you build up a wealth of $100,000, then start thinking, okay, how do we now manage this? But until you hit 100K in savings, liquid stuff, you just need to make more money.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And that's why I would say also that use this $100 or $200 what you have to learn a new skill. Learn from, and nowadays I often see that we get so stuck that we have one thing and we do this one thing, but I'm like, world is moving. Think a little bit ahead. It was another day, so you just need to, I would say exactly, invest that into yourself and then start investing. Because what happens also, I think, I don't know, I'm just going to put it out there, but people who don't have, let's say you have €100 a month left over that you could invest. You would, let's say, buy Bitcoin through Revolut. You can do that. You can put there whichever. But then comes a month when you don't have, and you're going to take from there. Which means you're actually not growing. Because but if you would, let's say 3 months, okay, you can put there a little bit as well. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I think you should. But you would use this 150, 200 to learn a new course, go to things, start something. And then you see that you start earning at 1 month 600 more, 700 more. And then you can, and because you have that extra income is coming in. Of course, life is always getting more expensive and more expensive, but you can still, I think like this, you you go much further than thinking today that, oh, I have one job, I have 100 euros, what I'm going to do with that?
Yes.
Okay, you can buy the Bitcoin, but I'm pretty certain that when the, let's say, summer hits, you want to go out somewhere, you're going to withdraw it from there.
Yes.
And it didn't do much.
Ruined.
Or it's just my perspective. What do you think of that?
I 100% agree with you, because, people want to have a certain lifestyle, and then you need to pay for that lifestyle from somewhere. And then it's like, if you have this like pot of money that's growing somewhere, it looks very tempting to take part of it, right? And and also just want to say one more thing, actually. I think the solution is not to reduce your costs, because most of the people that I know, when I look at their lifestyle, it's fairly normal. They wake up, they have a breakfast, they work, it's not, but nobody's doing crazy stuff, like they all, even people who are super wealthy that I know, their lifestyle is actually normal within these limits. Maybe they buy something, but every day they eat the same breakfast like I do, So cutting your costs will not solve your problem. You literally need to come and say, I need to earn more money. And I want to make now a very important point here. You earning more money will not come from the salary raise, because your salary was fixed in a budget at the beginning of the year. They know you don't want to leave. They know you're not going to quit to find a new job. They know even that most people are not that keen changing jobs because they like kind of the environment they're in. So they're not going to give you a raise. You literally need to make more money. You do that either, as you said, get a new job, additional job, or get a new job that pays a lot more. That's it. You cannot, there is no magic to it. You just need to make more money, and it usually comes from more incomes. That's it.
I agree. And so, but now, like we were talking, so how actually, so coming to that fact that money is losing value, Trump is saying Bitcoin, we will approve the Bitcoin, we'll do all of that. So for a regular person, like I say, who has the 100, 150, and we said, of course, do that. But how much, if you would think of their perspective right now, let's say they're listening, they don't know what to do, because, we can see what is happening to dollar. I'm every day looking at this and I'm like, why am I holding this here? Like, why am I doing this to myself? And because I don't, it's one thing is a habit, and the other thing is to really get it fixed in your head to understand that, okay, something, but like in a sense of that today you can have $10,000, but at the end of the year it can be worth, let's say, 7.5 or something like this. So for example, let's say this average person, average American, or even others, and how much it would affect them, let's say if they don't buy, let's say today, Bitcoins, or they don't put into that, how much it will affect them in the future. What do you see? Yeah.
So I think first, just to say, is that I think that actually investing into Bitcoin or investing into crypto is definitely among the higher risk investments from a perspective that the price goes up a lot, which is everybody's happy with that. But then it usually also goes down a lot. Like there's the correction, which we have seen several times. So I definitely want to position like very clearly that Bitcoin is a highly volatile investment. So just so you know. So if you look at real estate investment, bond investment, stock investments, and then definitely crypto is there somewhere highly red, it's not in the green part, like on the other red high risk spectrum. So, but I think look, this is what we have all learned in life, that with a lot of risk, taking a lot of risk, usually takes, there's a big reward attached to it, right? So now when I kind of think about it and kind of want to reflect, like what do people anticipate where Bitcoin will end up? And then you have usually like the best case scenario, base, normal case scenario, and the worst case scenario. Pretty much everybody's kind of like consensus is that over the long time period, Bitcoin will end up somewhere there with one Bitcoin is going to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not a million, if not even more, right? So if you look at the lost opportunity that you're going to have, is probably like 5x, 10x, right? So if you invest 10,000 now, maybe in a decade, you're going to have 100,000. So, or even if you invest during this whole time period a little bit, you might actually build up your whole retirement in this way, in a high risk way, right? It's your, I personally, but I'm a big believer in Bitcoin and crypto. I think this is a generational opportunity. There are, in my life, there were a couple of generational opportunities. Some was the dot-com bubble, the rise of the social networks, generative AI, crypto is one of them. You want to be part of these big, massive megatrends. You have, or even let me say it, you have to be part of them, right? The same way you have to today learn how AI works. You cannot say I don't care. It's like this is the worst thing you can do is fight technology or not acknowledge it. So crypto is a massive, massive megatrend. You have to be a part of it. If you're not a part of it, looking back in 10, 20 years, you're going to massively regret it. If I have to attach the price to it, not giving financial advice, obviously, I think Bitcoin will be at $1 million. If you buy one now for, what is it, 70K, you can do the math. It's insane.
Yeah. And I also think the fact that we are in the world is rapidly changing and so much is happening right now. We can see this in every kind of ways. So having just even this opportunity that you have certain amount of Bitcoin, it just gives you another security. And just in my perspective that, okay, if everything is going to disappear today, or I mean, it's not going to disappear like that, but let's just... You have something, because I mean, it's very unlikely that the Bitcoin will disappear.
It won't.
Like that.
Yeah.
So if you, let's say the dollar is gonna disappear, or there's gonna be a big shift. If you hold something like this that is in our way, it still will keep on going. I that's just my way of saying it. That having the security a little bit, whether the price is yes or no, up and down, here and there, I don't think it's so much. Like, of course it is. Everybody wants to make money, but I think it's the security aspect as well, because the future is so unknown right now. And
it's kind of like buying insurance, you know. It's kind of like, and this is actually, as you were saying, I was reflecting, thinking a lot. One person told me, he said he's a traditional finance person, but he told me kind of like, Anton, this is my insurance if things don't go so as we all plan it, that it's always so nice. So this is how he thinks of it. Like, I put some money there. If the world starts going through a lot of turbulence, a lot of volatility, Bitcoin will be the one that's going to perform well and kind of ensure me that I have something in
there, exactly. And you can continue, because, I mean, that's why, again, that's another part of securing yourself and having a skill of also understanding how it works, because it took me forever to understand, obviously. I mean, I still don't understand, but I'm just here. That actually brings me to the next thing, is real estate. We always often talk about the real estate as a, holding as an asset and all of that, and especially. But another day I was listening, and there was a story about, or we were talking about it, that another problem, why I just see it, let's say people who want, and this is just what I saw, and this is what I also think, the people buying real estate as their home or something like this, or even as an investment. But what we can come to the point at one point that we cannot sell them anymore. Because it just stays there. Because with Bitcoin, in that sense, if you need to have a cash right now or something, you can sell it right away. You get your money. You get to do what you need to do. But if you have a, let's say, $500,000 house somewhere, and you try to sell it, and the market is bad, there's not much you can do.
You cannot even sell it even to anyone. So I have a story about this. I think the person will recognize himself. First of all, very nice guy, super smart guy, running his own company, crypto company as well. And he told me that basically he bought like a huge land, He even showed it to me like it looks, it's a huge land, And he's now telling me for the last 6 months, he says, Anton, I'm trying to get out of this garbage to buy crypto and nobody wants to buy it. First of all, and then I kind of learned because it's a beautiful big land, and worth quite a bit of money. He says, it's too big and nobody wants to buy it. And what do you do with it? And he's literally like trying to figure out how to get rid of this estate, But he can't. And he's like telling me every day he's regretting it now that he put so much money. In such this real estate. It looked like a smart, safe idea back then, and now he's like locked in this garbage and can't get rid of it. And he's trying to sell it because he sees an opportunity somewhere else that's a lot better, right? And look, first of all, just to tell you my ideas about real estate, I think most of us will, or already now have real estate because you have inherited it. Like your parents were the one who were buying real estate. So this is kind of like my point, like how I think a lot of people will acquire real estate. The second thing is like, I think for if you're a poor person or a person who doesn't have a lot of wealth, you see real estate as your way to become rich. So if I buy this real estate, then I will become wealthy. People who actually have money, they buy real estate after they became wealthy, you know. So they did something else to accumulate wealth. Maybe it's a few $100,000 or $1 million or I don't know how much. And then as a part of their portfolio, they allocate a small part towards real estate. So think about how different this mindset is, right?
Yeah.
So because when you're when you're not so wealthy, right? Or poor, let's say poor, flat out poor. You look at the wealthy people and you're like, wow, they have real estate. So if I buy real estate, I will become wealthy. But then like, no, you got this wrong. They first became wealthy. They had capital and then they allocated the part to real estate. And they have other things in their portfolio. Yeah. But I think this concept of buying real estate and becoming wealthy, I think this just never happened actually. You had the price of real estate going up for the last couple of decades because they're printing so much money. So it's becoming less valuable, right? And then, but my thinking about this, I think is that real estate can be a very nice investment, but not if you don't have wealth. Then it's not an investment. Not if you take a loan to buy a real estate to become wealthy.
Yeah, and I just think it's exactly when you think of that, because I had that also before. I was thinking, owning this and having this, and then, like over the time the price goes up.
Yes.
But I'm also committed to it in that sense. Like if I, like today, if I would buy, say 100K of Bitcoins, or I buy for an apartment, let's say for 100,000, I can't sell the apartment tomorrow. True. And so if something's going to happen, let's say I have an extreme good opportunity coming up or something like this, that where I would need some cash, I can't use it.
Yeah.
Because it's there. Yeah. And I'm not saying everybody has to do this way, but that really shifted for me when I listened to that podcast, and that it's like, that's true. You can't just sell it tomorrow because it's normally a long process, or can be a short process if whatever. But at the end of the day, if you buy real estate to make money, you want to sell this for a higher return, like you're not buying it for. So it just came up to me, and I wanted to talk about this. And it's something you said in between about it, but you hang around a lot with wealthy people who have made money prior to Bitcoin. And so what would you say of their mindset is about the future as well? Because you hear what they're talking, you see what they are doing, how they are. So, and what's the difference? How would you say, how do they think?
So the people that I know that have been in the crypto industry for a while and they have made money through it, first of all, they understand the huge volatility of Bitcoin and that there are cycles. So it goes up, everybody's very happy, then it crashes, and everybody's crying, sad, and then it goes up and so on. So they are a lot less emotional to these cycles and the ups and downs, right? They understand it's part of the game. And they also they don't put themselves in a position that they have to make extreme decisions when they're kind of at the low of the cycle. So it's not, what I'm trying to say is like Bitcoin is not in the end their whole life. They usually have some income or some other investments, some other opportunities, and they're kind of like, this is part of their life, but it's an investment. It's not a place where they, pay their bills from actually. And also what I have seen over time, they're all kind of diversify into other things, because new trends are coming, new opportunities are coming, and then they diversify, I do know some people who are kind of this called Bitcoin maximalists, Bitcoin maxis, they're the ones who is just Bitcoin, or is just like maybe one or two cryptocurrencies, and they're just hammering on that their whole life, which is not a long time period. Maybe it's kind of like 10 years maximum. So whole life is figure of speech here. Yeah. But, I think that most of the people understand it. First of all, it's a high risk investment, It goes up and down. They make strong investment. So this is not like they do 5% of their wealth. No, this is like 20, 30, 50% of their wealth, but they have other things going for them, So I think like that's a very important thing to mention. But most people that I know are big believers in crypto, actually. But I also know people who are super wealthy and they think Bitcoin is the biggest scam on the planet. But these people are lost. You can't help them.
That was actually my next question.
You can't help them.
So you read my mind, because I was like, you hang around with people because you are coming from the pre-finance in that sense, into that, like before, pre-finance, what word is that? I don't know. But what I mean is like before Bitcoin and all of that. So you have the finance background and you've seen the both worlds. Yes. And so why are they so against it? What do you think? They just didn't come up with a trend? They didn't...
This is like one thing very interesting. Is like today, it's very hard to find a person who is really against AI and hates it, Like you can kind of... People, when they don't like it or don't believe it, they're like, it's not good enough. It will never work. It's like... it's kind of like resistance, but it's not hate, With crypto, I know people who literally, like, my impression is they hate it, They're like, it's a scam, it's a pyramid scheme, it's a Ponzi, it's only used by terrorists and money launderers. Banks are great, crypto is horrible. Like, they literally hate it with passion. And I don't get it, because to be honest, like, I personally have never had that I hate something, Mm-hmm. I can disagree with it, Mm-hmm. Highly not like it, for whatever reason. But I was never in this position that I said, I hate, okay, maybe for NFTs, I do hate NFTs. I think they're really garbage. But in general, even with NFTs, I'm like, okay, maybe somehow it will work. But like, I know people who come from traditional finance, they're usually like very entrenched in this like corporate world, that are part of this corporate traditional system, where no, there's no change. We are the way we are. We're a group. We don't let anyone in. They hate crypto. They just hate it. And when you ask them why they hate it, just talk nonsense the whole time.
That was my actually.
They just talk garbage, and you're like, my friend, have you ever checked how it works? But usually the what they say is it's too volatile. Mm-hmm. It's a Ponzi scheme. Mm-hmm. It's only used by terrorists and money launderers. Not true, banks are, but you do that with banks, by the way. And I don't know, was it like this is the group of like things I hear bad about crypto. But each one of those things you can tell them, no, it's not the case. If you want to talk logically with them.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
okay, interesting.
But I really I seen it. People hate it with passion.
Yeah, this is.
Do you agree?
No, I mean, I am not so much in that world, because I know you are more. But sometimes I hear like exactly like two different words. But this is, and comes up again with this Trump politicians and all of that, because there has to be a reason what they're benefiting out of it.
Yes.
Because otherwise, like you said, why would you passionately hate something if there is no benefit for you in certain ways? You understand? Like,
True.
If I hate Bitcoin so much because I am in some kind of other scheme of money and everything, and I know if Bitcoin would come and destroy my way of living, my way of doing things will not be as good. So obviously, I start hating this. Because I feel as a threat. I don't know.
It could be the case, actually. Like, first of all, like, I have to say, I really don't get it. Like, I don't understand this, this passion to hate something, But I think if you're threatened by something, obviously you don't like it, Mm-hmm. So maybe I will not like AI so much in the future, because it will be taking away my job,
Mm-hmm.
if I don't adapt, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. But, I'm really trying to think, like, what's the reason for that? And just to tell you one thing, Birgith, like, sometimes people tell me, they come to me and say, Anton, but you have such a strong voice. You're a crypto OG, original gangster. You're a pioneer. You need to educate those people. I tell them, my friend, there is no saving them. You cannot educate people who don't want to be educated. And today, like, you either agree with me or I'm not going to bother trying to explain it to you. Because when you've been in the crypto industry for so long, trying to educate people, you realize that people can only educate themselves. I can just be an enabler, but they need to convince themselves. So that's why today I will never try to convince you that crypto is the right thing for you, because it's your decision.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I totally agree with this. There is no one who's gonna, I think it's just what brings us back to the beginning again is have your skills, have your knowledge, try new things, try to see what it is, and then you have your own perspective of this and your own understanding. But if you just sit there and you just say, no, I don't want to know about this, I don't believe this, then you actually have just a perspective from somebody else.
Yes.
And if you don't try by yourself, or if you don't acquire something new, because let's be honest, the money is not going to be the same way it is today. Because who would have thought just a few years ago that now we pay with our phones? Just like, if you would have told me this 10 years ago, that you just take your phone and you pay, I would have been like, no, I don't know, the risks of, whatever. But now today is normal. So we have to be ready that a lot of things will change and shift, that the things today we can say, oh, no, I don't think so,
Yes.
will happen. Yes. Or the same, like, we can work with our phones today. I do a lot of work with my phone. If, let's say, my mom generation, if I tell to my mom that today I get to work with my phone. Like if we would go back 15 years and I say, Mom, I can work with my phone, she would look at me like, I can barely call to someone, it costs a fortune. I still have my aunt. Sometimes I call her through Facebook Messenger. And she each time asks, Birgith, tell me how much it cost me to have that call, because life has changed. But their generation, long back ago, we know how much cost to call for a foreign country. It was like enormous. So, but nowadays it's for free. I have Wi-Fi, I call, I do whatever I want.
Sure.
So just to think about it in the fact that we're not going to be the same. And if we get stuck in something, like you said, you don't understand why people hate, and I don't understand that either. Like, it's like, no, it's like a disease, stay away from me. But life is going to change.
Yes.
So
I have a story, Birgith, another one. So in my first crypto startup, when we started, my co-founder partner, he was a revolutionary visionary guy. So it was 2013, 14, and he said, we're going to be a mobile first crypto company, meaning that the first product you roll out is an application on the phone. It was a scandal in Switzerland. This crazy guy wants to an app, and you have to onboard a client through an app, right? It was 2014. Today you have cameras and you submit documents. Back then it was like it was a scandal. People would say this crazy guy doesn't understand how the world works. Complete scandal. And the fact that we rolled out our first product, which was an app, and you did everything through an app actually as a client, and only later we did a terminal on the laptop, right? Platform on the laptop. Huge scandal, And I remember people used to tell me, you're crazy, partner. He doesn't understand it. He's completely nuts. This will never work. Today, if you ask me to onboard and I have to have a laptop in front of me, you lost me. You lost me. I will not do it, And so, this is sometimes how it happens. But I also want to give credit because you mentioned your aunt, I also remember always how my father, who was not like techafi, he's not like, he's a veterinarian, I remember the best story ever explaining why blockchain and crypto is useful and traditional finance is not, because he would ask me, said, Anton, I'm going hiking, send me 300 euros because I want to go there over the weekend. I would write him in an email saying, hey, I have sent it to you now. He would go directly to the bank and say, where is the money? my son sent it to me. And they would say, no, but it takes a few days. And my father, who is a veterinarian, he would say, but why is it taking a few days? It's just information in systems. So how long it takes you to update the system to say my son has 300 euros less and I have 300 euros more? This came from a veterinarian who was 65 years old. He understood it.
That
So I want to give credit to aunties and fathers when credit is due, because sometimes they understand it a lot better than what
Of course they do. Of course, totally. And it's the logic behind, actually. It's so simple. And that's why I love also children, actually, because sometimes children ask very smart question about why is it that? Why do we? And then you realize, we still keep on doing things I don't know, in a middle age.
Yes.
But so let's move here again to the Trump thing.
Yes. Because he represents their interests, they kind of found him representing their ways. If they do that to him, imagine what they will try to do in the campaign. Maybe they will not, I hope they will not try to kill him again, but they will do the craziest thing imaginable. They will try to, if killing him is not a problem, why faking a whole election is not a problem? What is worse? We can even think about it. And if you think that they will let people decide how it's going to be run, then we have to be very naive. They will not allow that to happen. It's going to be brutal. I think for the crypto community, everybody is now cheering that he wins because he's now saying America is Bitcoin and Bitcoin is America. But I'm illustrating, But I think the crypto community loves him now. He's the crypto Jesus now.
No, he's a crypto Jesus. No, he's good. He's good at speeches. He knows how to get his message out. He knows how to say things. But just if you could explain it to someone that the reason that crypto, the crypto companies or the overall the acceptance of Bitcoin and everything has been so against it in the United States, that they try to fight against it, which is obvious reason of the dollar. But how would you see now? What would be the things that start to make will be different?
So I think if he comes into office as a president, I think the first thing he will do is he will fire the chairman or the person who is running the financial regulator in the U.S. So it is Gary Gensler, who is running the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. He will fire him. I think the second thing they will do is they will try to tailor the financial regulation more open to crypto companies, so you can have more freedom to offer products, innovate, enable more people to buy crypto in a positive way, in a safe and secure way. So I think they will do a lot of that. But I think the big thing is like, will they actually take dollars and buy Bitcoin with it in order to have Bitcoin as a reserve? I think that's a big promise. And if Trump does that, this is the ultimate game. It's like, I print dollars, which are worthless and getting less worth every day, and I'm buying Bitcoin, which we all think and believe, and we are building the infrastructure to make it highly valuable. I think this is the end game, actually. So I think he will for sure fire the guy at the regulator. I think he will for sure help a lot of crypto companies open the doors. But the main thing is like, will he actually buy Bitcoin?
And here it comes exactly like you said about crypto companies, that they can come over, because right now, what would you say? Are there more crypto companies in US than in Dubai, or where do you see the most of them are?
So in US, you do have a lot of crypto companies. The problem is that nobody among the service providers wants to work with crypto companies. So like, let me explain like in plain language that means. Like if you're a crypto company, the chances of you getting a bank account is very slim. They don't want to work with you, right? They say you're a terrorist, you're doing tax evasion, this is all illegal, you're a scammer, we will not give you a bank account. Or if they found out you work with crypto, they shut down your bank account. Then having a bank in US as a crypto company has been a huge problem for like 10 years. Huge problem, actually, right? So hostile towards crypto. Then the regulators are suing everybody for everything, sometimes justified, many times not justified, right? So I personally think it's the worst and the most difficult country on the planet that you can go and build a crypto company. Even though it's a huge market, it's 300 million people, it's just so damn difficult because the environment is making it difficult for you. The people want to buy crypto, but the environment is a disaster. Dubai and UAE on the other side has been very welcoming. This is my impression, my strong opinion. UAE is one of the best jurisdictions on the planet where you can go and set up your crypto business and kind of start building it from there. But also, I think in UAE, it's not easy because the infrastructure underneath, because to build like a crypto company, you need to have service providers, you need to have lawyers, you need to have talent, you need to have management, you need to have investors, like all of this package, it's missing in UAE. And I'll give you like a simple example. If you want to raise money, where is it easier to get it? In Silicon Valley or in UAE? Most people say probably in Silicon Valley, right? That is the case. There is very little capital, venture capital for crypto companies in UAE. So I think even though UAE is amazing, we have a lot of work to do. This is going to be a long, process. And to tell you, even though in the media you read that Dubai, UAE, Abu Dhabi are like paradise for crypto, I can just tell you firsthand, and I seen it. We are still in the early days. We need to do a lot of work, build a lot of infrastructure, build a lot of crypto companies, bring a lot of talent. And then it's going to be amazing. And one thing that UAE has going for it is that the smartest people on the planet are moving to UAE. The smartest people on the planet that work in crypto are moving to UAE. And that's the biggest advantage, because my experiences, I don't know how you feel about it, in the end, it's all about the people. If you have the smartest people on the planet in the same place, magic happens. And if they're not in the same place, this place dies, basically.
Yeah, it's always, definitely. It's the smartest people's talent. And it's not it's never a one person. It's always a team who comes together and is doing it. And even though, yes, the one person can be the one who's leading it, but if you have team of 5 or 6 and you think alike, it's going to go so much bigger and better and in everything. Because we can see it. We're going to talk about this in the next episode, so make sure to come back for it. Because if you want to know about it, how to build, let's say, crypto business, how to become an entrepreneur and everything, and Anton will walk you through his way of seeing this. But again, I'm going back to it because we keep on circling in this. We talked about it, learning a new skill and learning something new and educating yourself and becoming better. What would you see in crypto field to learn and do? What would be the skills to start to acquire?
I think building crypto companies, obviously, as you know, you're an entrepreneur, so it requires a lot of different skills to make something work. So if you asked me this question like a couple of years ago, I would tell you the best skill to have in the crypto industry is to be a developer. Because we need developers, and as a developer, you will code, you will work on big projects, and you can contribute, hopefully earn some good salary, good money, income, I don't know, like tokens, equity, and you will do well off. I think we have gone a bit past that, and I'm talking about the future. Like, I think the biggest skill set today you can have as a crypto company is be a good marketer. Because so many people today, they look at this crypto, Bitcoin, they look at it like, I have an amazing product around it. And then they build a product and everybody's like, what the hell is this stuff? I don't get it. How am I supposed to use it? Can't even find out about it. I think this is part of a bigger trend in the business, but I think especially in crypto, because crypto is a fully digital industry. There's not a lot of stuff moving around. It's like all software and code. If you're a great marketer, and if you can get your product in front of the right people, capture their attention, and get them to onboard and start using your product, you are golden.
I agree.
You are amazing.
I agree, and I don't think there is anything more powerful than marketing. And this is why I often say, I speak a lot with my clients and everything, and I see they spend a lot of money on this, let's say on building a website, doing this, I don't know, hiring the best things. And I'm like, and what's your budget for marketing? Maybe we have 1,000, 2,000. And I'm like, and what do you expect to happen with this? What do you really expect? 80% of your budget should be marketing. And 20% is the rest. Because if you are able to market yourself so well, you can charge higher, you can do better things, you're reaching to the more people, which means your revenue is going higher. But if it's the reversed, that 20% of your budget is marketing and 80% you are spending on all of the other, then forget about it. Yes. Then nothing's going to happen. And it's just like, my mom always makes a joke about it, says, well, they had money to build a restaurant, but now they have no money to market themselves. Because nobody knows. If you have a place, or you have something, you think, wow, we got this interior, we did this or this, and it's based on a restaurant example right now, but nobody cares because nobody knows about you. So how about you maybe make a little, maybe the chairs don't have to be so expensive, but you market this place with something. And we can see this every day with social media and everything, how marketing puts the price up. Yes. Often when people are asking me the questions like, oh, is it really that worth? I'm like, no, it's not, but it's marketing. No. But marketing costs. Yes. So that's part of it. In order to reach to you, they had to do all of these things. So it costs money. It has now higher value in that sense. And so they're going to charge you more and it's going to make you feel more. Yeah. But marketing, I agree. So get yourself in a good at marketing, good at talking. And I believe in two marketing ways. One is social media, but the other is also what you're going to do in a way of connecting with people. No. There's never such a thing, at least this is my perspective, when people say, how do I get more followers? How do I get this and this? I'm like, you have to do both. You're good at social media, you connect on social media, but then you also connect in real life with people and you're building your network. Yes, there are exceptions where you can do one way or another. I don't believe that only doing let's say networking and going and meeting people and not having social presence, that doesn't really end up good for you because you're losing the people you are meeting. Yeah. But the human factor also plays enormous role. So having this balance will make a huge difference.
Absolutely, yeah. And just to tell you, like, the easiest way for me to recognize between a completely unexperienced entrepreneur and founder and a very experienced one is that the experienced one will talk and market and tell everybody about their product, They will literally go on the top of a building and scream, I have a product. Take a look at it, buy it. And the unexperienced one will focus a lot about building the product. And to be even provocative, many times the super experienced founders, entrepreneurs, they will pitch a product. They will say it's the best on the planet. You will come to them and say, I'm convinced. Give me the product. They will say, it's not even there. We don't have it. But thank you for me to know you're interested. I will add you on the list of the waiting list. And when we have the product ready, I will approach you, because they understand that you need to demand. Demand rules everything. You can create supply of everything, but if there's no demand, it doesn't work.
No. And this is what I always coach for everybody. I say, what are you posting there? What are you putting there? We have this, we have this. You don't even have people. What's the point? First, start testing what people want from you. Yeah. And once you see what they want from you and what kind of skill or whatever you're doing, then start building the product along the side. You can have an idea, but if nobody is interested, and of course, another thing is making it too complicated. I'm like, make it as simple as possible that my 5-year-old can understand what you're doing right now, because then you attract new audience, you attract new ways. And also the other thing is, don't always do what others have done. Do it differently, and especially in marketing. So doing something different, showing out, being there. And in order to, we're going to discuss about this actually in our next episode where Anton is going to walk us. Anton, how many companies you have? 4 companies. 4 successful companies.
And many failures along the way.
Many failures along the way.
To learn.
And Anton is going to walk you through that, let's say, how to build in a sense of company right now, let's say crypto company, whether in Dubai, in the United States, what are the things to know about it? Also, what are the skills and what you require in order to get there? Because you are in that market, and obviously I will bring in my marketing perspective of that. So come back to the next episode. Make sure to like, subscribe, be here if you like our episodes, if you find them valuable. And thank you for listening to us.
Awesome. It was really great. And the next episode is going to be awesome. Let's talk about how to build crypto companies in the next episode.
Yes, we'll be back. So see you.
Bye-bye.